Well, back here at Olympic Stadium, just a few moments before the opening day, or the opening home game for the Montreal Expos. As I mentioned, the lineups batting fourth in the Met lineup today. Once again, Darryl Strawberry. A couple of weeks ago in Port St. Lucie, I had an opportunity to talk to Darryl about his off the field and on the field problems, and he was very candid. And here's a little bit of what he had to say.
Well, I think what most people don't realize in their life is the things that you do and how it affects your life. I realize that alcohol really affects people's lives, and most people don't really take the time out to realize that. And I really didn't take the time out, but you know, I got a chance to get my life together, and got a chance to go to a program where it really helped me and where it's going to benefit me throughout the rest of my life, not my career. I'm not really worried about my career. I'm more concerned about my own personal life. And it took a big step for me to take that time to realize that it was time for me to seek some counseling and some type of help for myself, because my life was really out of control with drinking. And, you know, everybody really didn't think that Darryl Strawberry had a drinking problem, but deep down inside, I'm the only one that really knew that I had a problem with drinking. So I just decided it was time to give it up, and I decided it was time for Darryl Strawberry to get to like Darryl Strawberry and not try to please everybody else. When you have problems, you have a tendency of turning away from your problems, and you know, that's when I would turn to drinking. And you know, I would like to discuss that matter because I think it's important that people know that you can really have a seriously problem with alcohol, and it can destroy your life. And I'm a witness to it. No matter, you know, how powerful you are and how much money you make and how much success you have, it can destroy your life.
You know, you mentioned a lot of people were surprised that you had the problem. There was never a thing where you'd see Darryl Strawberry on the road falling down and things like that.
Well, no, it's different type of alcoholics, you know, and you know, most people have that problem where they're falling down and, you know, drinking out of control. My alcohol problems were more of a type of having a lot of frustration built inside of me and a lot of anger built around me, and not really expressing my true feelings of how Darryl Strawberry felt. My feelings were always to try to please everybody else instead of pleasing myself. And I would just let it, you know, stay inside of me, and I would keep to myself. And I really wouldn't open up to nobody. I would always like to be alone. And, you know, sometimes the guys wanted to be close to me, and I really wouldn't let them get close to me.
Why?
And I would, it was just a shell there. You know, I would let them only in so much, and then I would stop. And you never, I really couldn't figure out why. But I got a chance to really figure out when I went to Smithers, a program that, you know, a lot of people think it's a bad place to be, but it's not a bad place to be. It's a great place to be, to get help, you know, and then get yourself going.
Well, Darryl Strawberry talking to us on Mets Inside Pitch, our weekly show here on Sports Channel, and Darryl could use a couple long balls right now. But anyways, we're going to give you the Met lineup. They take on the Montreal Expos in just a few moments. The Expos are on the field, and leading off for the Mets will be Greg Jeffries. He'll be followed by Keith Miller and then Howard Johnson. Middle three, Darryl Strawberry, Kevin McReynolds, and Mike Marshall. And the bottom three, Barry Lyons, Kevin Elster, and David Cohn.
And on the mound for Montreal, Kevin Gross, who's had his problems. He was suspended for baseball when he was caught using an illegal substance while pitching. That was back in '87. And he is making his first start of the year. He has a lifetime record of 71 and 78. And last year he was 11-9 for Montreal, winning his first game as a Montreal Expo against the New York Mets. Actually, last year he was 11-12, and his lifetime record against the Mets, 11 wins, 9 losses. And last year, 1-1 against New York.
And defensively, Galarraga, DeShields, Owen, and Wallach in the infield, Raines, Grissom, and Walker in the outfield, Santavania behind the plate.
And for the Mets, it'll be Greg Jeffries to lead it off. Greg hitting .273 so far this year with 1 home run, 1 run batted in. He's been up 11 times with 3 hits. Against Montreal, he has hit .288 in his abbreviated career in the major leagues with 3 home runs. And we're about to get underway. They anticipate about 40,000 here for this opening day game in Montreal. Last year, the Mets in Montreal were 9-9. The Mets have won only 2 games here in the Big O. And the first pitch by Kevin Gross, a called strike. One strike to count. And Gross to the curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gross has pitched 200 or more innings in each of his last 5 years. And he has started 30 or more games in each of his last 5 years. He is a workhorse. Did not have a good spring. And the pitch back to Jeffries, a called strike. 1-2. Greg Jeffries led all National League rookies last year in games played. 141 home runs, 12 hits, 131, and walks with 39. And was 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting. But he had a very good rookie year. But he strikes out here in the Big O as he makes his first appearance of this season inside.
Hey, here's that last pitch to Greg Jeffries. Split finger fastball, bottom just fell out of that pitch. Jeffries had an excellent batting practice, so really there's no correlation between how you swing the bat in batting practice and how you're going to hit the ball in a game.
There are a lot of guys that could swing it real well in batting practice. And now the batter coming up, Keith Miller. Miller hitting .300 so far, 3 hits and 10 at bats. And the new center fielder for the Mets takes outside for a ball.
Well, on Friday the 13th, the superstition of some players is they don't want to hit the ball too well in batting practice.
Tommy Brown, who used to be with the Brooklyn Dodgers, later on with the Cubs, used to keep track of all of his home runs that he hit in batting practice.
Whitey Herzog did that also.
He was the youngest player in Major League history to hit a home run. I believe he hit a home run at the age of 16. Youngest player to play in the major leagues, Joe Nuxhall, who played in the majors as a pitcher when he was 15. And a strike call. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And the breaking ball for ball 2. Kevin Gross, basically a curveball pitcher. And he likes to paint the corners, and he's a very accomplished artist. Sells his paintings for big money. He was caught with sandpaper glued to his glove back in 1987. Got suspended. Line drive to center field, off and running. The center fielder Marquise Grissom, and he puts it away. So a well-hit ball turned into an out, and 2 men down.
As one would expect, the Montreal Expos have built a club with good speed. One indication is they led the National League in stolen bases last year. Everybody would think off the top of your head it would be the Cardinals, but they have a very, very fast outfield, and they're good defensive players, all 3 outfielders.
They've had 5 stolen bases in their first 3 games this year, and in spring training they had 32 stolen bases in 11 ball games, so you can look for them to be a running ball club. Now the batter, Howard Johnson. Howard hitting .154 so far this year. He led off the year with a home run, and he's had 1 hit since. He's 2 for 13. And the fastball for a ball.
If you take a look at the way they set up defensively on AstroTurf, if the ball's hit down the line, they concede the extra base hit. They try to bunch in the middle. Once that ball goes down to third base or first base line, the outfielder usually heads for the fence to play the carom off the wall.
It's like they used to play in the polo grounds, play in the alleys. Give you the lines because of the odd shape of that ballpark.
A lot of these new ballparks, when the ball is hit down the line, it hugs the wall and will roll from the foul line all the way out to right or left center field.
1 ball, no strikes. Accounted Howard Johnson, and he looks at the curveball, a called strike. Johnson with a super year last year, hit .287 with 36 home runs, 101 runs batted in, and 41 stolen bases. Gets it off the end of the bat to the third base side. Tim Wallach, a fine fielding third baseman, can't make the play, and Howard Johnson has an infield base hit.
Well, talk about being able to do it all. Howard Johnson, with good power, makes the infielders play back, but he also has great speed, so when he takes the big cut and chips the ball, he'll pick up an infield hit. Here it is again. Big swing, cues the ball to third base, and Wallach, who as Ralph mentioned, a good third baseman, knew that Howard Johnson had an infield hit.
So the Mets get the first base runner this game, and that'll bring up Darryl Strawberry. Darryl has hit well against Montreal throughout his career. He has a lifetime average of .306 against Montreal. .309 make that with 28 home runs.
I guess Kevin Gross wants that sandpaper. No, what he wanted was the rosin bag.
Home plate umpire Gary Darling calling time to allow him to get the rosin. Those pitchers like that rosin.
Tries those hands. Some pitchers, I remember Vida Blue used to put pine tar on his pant leg, but of course that's illegal.
And Darryl Strawberry, the batter. Darryl hitting 202 for 10. He's driven in 1 run. He has no home runs. 215 in his 6-year career, 6+ years, and a .250 lifetime batting average. Johnson, who had 41 stolen bases last year to lead the club, the runner at first base. And the first pitch to Strawberry called the ball.
Do you ever forget the home run Strawberry hit here in Montreal?
He hit that ring that is just below the ceiling here at the Big O. Nobody's ever done that before, but actually Dave Kingman hit one out of here all the way out of the ballpark and never got credit for a home run. The umpire couldn't find it. There's the ring where Strawberry hit that monstrous home run. That was off St. Clair. And the curveball hangs outside. 2 balls, no strikes. But Kingman hit one out of the ballpark over that ring.
That's
called a foul ball.
Yeah, that's incredible. But Kingman, I'm not surprised, because he can hit the ball as far as anybody who ever played the game.
Anybody that ever played the game, with the possible exception of Babe Ruth. There's a good fastball for a called strike. 1-1.
Kingman can hit the ball as far as the Babe.
He was certainly up there.
Great athlete. He had a real good relationship with the media.
He certainly.
He had no relationship.
There goes Johnson in the swing with the throw going out into shallow center field, and Johnson gets a stolen base as Strawberry swings through the pitch, and the count goes to 3-2.
Here's a replay of the throw. Santavania bouncing the ball to second base. Now, Howard Johnson with a good jump. Strawberry swinging the bat, and Santavania just probably slipped out of his hand. Ball bounces by the shortstop. It looked like he threw that ball with 3 or 4 fingers instead of the 2 fingers that's required to grip the seams, and just a bad throw.
Good backup on the play by DeShields to keep it from going through into center field.
It's a good point, Ralph, because I can't believe when a ball goes into center field that a runner, after sliding, can get up and go to third base. The center fielder, especially these guys with great speed, have to get behind second base in a hurry once they see the catcher throwing the ball.
And of course, the center fielder playing deep against Strawberry. The 3-2 pitch, and it's grounded foul.
But even if he's deep, if he breaks as soon as the ball goes by Strawberry and Santavania throws the ball, I mean, the way these guys can run, they got to be on top of second base.
And you have, of course, the artificial turf where that ball really does roll in a hurry.
Yeah, so the guy should never be able to get up and go to third. You just take a look at the defense there.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Just underway here at the Big O. They spell O here, O-W-E, because of the tremendous expense in building this stadium. And now the 3-2 pitch is called ball 4. So Strawberry walks to join Howard Johnson. The Mets have runners at first and second with 2 men out. And the batter will be Kevin McReynolds.
Well, the Montreal Expos are optimistic. They were 81 and 81 the past 2 seasons. Last year they kind of folded down the stretch after picking up Mark Langston. But once again, players sign here in Montreal, play a couple years, get established, and move on.
And McReynolds gets a breaking ball for ball 1. McReynolds hitting .333, 3 for 9 with 1 home run. Lifetime .270 hitter, 6+ years in the major leagues. Has 216 career home runs. Quiet man. And the fastball, 2 balls, no strikes. Reynolds has hit well against Montreal, a lifetime average of .306 against them with 21 home runs. And it's hit hard, and Spike Owen with a great play to pick up the force play at short to end the inning. What a play by Spike Owen to keep the Mets from scoring. No runs, 1 hit, a walk, and 2 men left on base. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets nothing, the Expos coming up.
Well, Mets fans, this breaking the action is a good time for you to break open an ice cold Budweiser and enjoy that clean, crisp taste. Yeah, this Bud's for you. With that in mind, let me give you the Montreal Expo lineup. Delino DeShields leading off. He's new. He's the second baseman. Marcus Grissom batting number 2. He'll be followed by Tim Raines. The middle 3, Tim Wallach, Andres Galarraga, and Larry Walker. The bottom 3, Nelson Santildana, Spike Owen, and then Kevin Gross.
And on the mound for the Mets, David Cone. David with a lifetime record of 39 and 17. Lifetime against Montreal 3 and 2. Last year he was 14 and 8. And in spring training he won 2 and lost 1 with a 6 earned run average. And he'll be working to Delino DeShields.
And defensively, the Mets have Marshall, Jeffries, Elster, and Johnson in the infield. McReynolds, Miller, and Strawberry left to right in the outfield. Lyons behind the plate.
DeShields to lead it off, and the newcomer takes low for ball 1. DeShields hitting .400 for the year with 6 hits and 15 at-bats. He has no home runs, 2 runs batted in. And he became the 11th player in the history of Major League Baseball to get 4 hits his first game in the major leagues. And he singles the center off the next delivery by Cone. And DeShields off to a great start for Montreal.
He's quite an athlete. He had a scholarship offer from Villanova for basketball. And the Expos gave him some money to sign, and he's a pretty good hitter. They say he's a little rough around the edges defensively at second base. Here he is, hitting the ball right on the button.
So he singles in his first appearance against the Mets. That puts a runner at first, and look for Montreal to be running. Here is Marquise Grissom batting in the second position in the batting order, and the first pitch hit to the third baseman Johnson. The throw to second to Jeffries in time. The relay to first is also in time. So 2 pitches and 2 men away with a base hit in.
Ball was hit hard, but right at Howard Johnson. Howard goes 5 to 4 on to 3. Double play.
Marquise Grissom batting .286 before hitting into that double play, and that brings up Tim Raines, who's hitting an even .300 so far this year, 3 for 10. Raines, a lifetime .303 hitter in his 10th year in the major leagues. And the first pitch looked at, a called strike. The big argument in Montreal is, why does Raines hit third when he is such a great base stealer and not hit first? And it's been argued back and forth for years here.
They need him to drive. They need somebody to drive in runs. He's such a proficient hitter. I guess they had to move him there.
That's the answer to the argument. They do not have a third-place hitter, unless it would be Tim Raines. Raines last year had 41 stolen bases in 50 attempts. His career percentage of success in stolen bases is 87%, and he has over 500 stolen bases. But batting third, he doesn't get that many opportunities.
His best year in the RBI department was back in 1983 when he drove in 71 runs.
And he takes the pitch for a ball that's 2-2. Raines, one of the best clutch hitters, though, that if you look at the stats, his clutch hitting performance is outstanding.
You know, Ralph, putting him in the third slot, I don't think this day and age takes away from his ability to steal a base, because everybody runs. There's no set rule that stops you from running now.
And that pitch, ball 3-2. That is correct. Raines, the second youngest player to reach the 500 stolen base plateau in the history of the game. The youngest, Ricky Henderson. And it's hit hard down to the first base side, picked up by Marshall. Cohen wins the race to first, and Montreal is out. One hit, the double play, and no one left on base. The score at the end of one, the Mets nothing, the Expos nothing.
Tomorrow on Sports Channel, Davy Johnson's Mets slug it out with Tim Raines and the hard-hitting Expos. Catch the Mets battling their Eastern Division foes, Montreal. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, with the Mets on deck starting at 1:15, live on Sports Channel.
Well, we'd like to welcome Adelphi Communications in Toms River to today's New York Mets game as part of our Sports Channel free preview during the month of April. Ralph?
And we're here in the top of the second inning. The Mets batting for the second time. And it will be Mike Marshall to lead it off for the Mets. Marshall with one hit and 11 times up. And Kevin Gross misses with a fastball. 1 ball, no strikes. Marshall, a lifetime .271 hitter in 8+ years in the major leagues with 137 career home runs. Wired from the Dodgers, and this pitch, a fastball. 1-1.
By the way, Ralph, I know you were wondering, it's Adelphia Communications. Adelphi, that great basketball team. You know, I have basketball in my mind with the shields on the field.
Absolutely.
It's in Garden City. That's Adelphi.
And a swing and a miss. 1-2.
I'm told by our director, Danny Regan, that they have a great lacrosse program.
Never played that game.
You never did?
Never did.
You know, now that would surprise me.
And a swing and a miss, and Marshall is struck out. Second strikeout for Kevin Gross.
Here it is again. Mike Marshall going after that breaking ball. Ralph mentioned you'll get a steady diet of breaking balls from Kevin Gross. Speaking of other sports, Mike Marshall was telling me today he's a big hockey fan, so he's right at home up here in Montreal.
He's in the right place. Now the batter will be Barry Lyons. Lyons hitting .222, 2 for 9 so far this year. One of his hits a home run, and he hits this ball in the air to right center field. Easing over is Larry Walker, also a newcomer for the Montreal Expos. Hubie Brooks played right field last year for Montreal. And Walker makes the play.
By the way, I want to wish our coordinating producer, Bob DePoto, a speedy recovery. Had minor surgery.
It's only minor when it's on somebody else.
That's why we categorized it as minor.
That'll bring up Kevin Elster. Incidentally, Dwight Gooden's wife presented Doctor with a baby girl this morning.
Doc will pitch tomorrow and go back to St. Petersburg after the game to see the young lady and his wife.
8 pounds. And this ball hit the right field. Walker went back, started back, then came in. And the Mets go in order here in the top of the second to score at the end of 1.5 innings. The Mets nothing, the Expos nothing.
Well, there's the new proud papa, Doc Gooden, talking Ron Darling. In fact, Doc, as I mentioned, will pitch in tomorrow afternoon's ball game against Dennis Martinez. And Ronnie Darling will toe the rubber against Zane Smith on Sunday. That game starting at 8:05 p.m. here on Sunday. After that game, let's fly to Chicago.
For a day game on Monday, that's one of the makeup games of the result of the lockout.
After that, the Mets are back home at Shea. Here's a guy, Ralph's been taking some heat.
No score as the Expos come up here in the second. Tim Wallach, the batter. And the fastball, strike one. In the papers today, there was some criticism by his former teammate, Bren Smith, that Wallach didn't have qualities to be a leader. And there's a ball, and it's 1-1.
I think that the leadership is a bit overrated.
Terribly overrated.
Yeah, because nobody's going to listen to somebody running around screaming and yelling. If you can hit, you can catch the ball and throw it, you can lead by example.
How about Joe DiMaggio? He barely say hello to you, and he was one of the greatest leaders that ever played this game.
With the Giants, Willie McCovey.
It's different, I think, in high school and college. The rah-rah stuff goes well. But in professional ball, they look at you like you're crazy when you jump up and down.
That's right.
Here's a 1-2 pitch, and a fastball high, 2-2. David Cohn on the mound for the Mets. Helped out by a double play in the first after he gave up a single to DeShields. Now working to Tim Wallach. Fastball fouled and out of play.
I remember when I was with Kansas City, they talked about motivation and leadership, and Hal McRae, who is now the batting instructor with the Montreal Expos, said, all the motivation I need, he said, is I have a wife and some children. I don't need any more motivation.
I want those guys that are self-motivated.
That's right.
And an inside-out little swing, a typical Tim Wallach swing. He has led the National League in doubles for 42 two times, so he gets the bat on the ball and gets a base hit. Second leadoff base hit.
Here's the swing. Tim Wallach going down and just lofting the ball, placing the ball in play.
That's a serve right there. That's not a swing.
An underhanded serve.
And it brings up Andres Galarraga. So runner at first, no one out. Andres Galarraga, the batter. Wallach picking up his 5th hit in 16 at-bats. Galarraga hitting .400. He's 4 for 10. And he takes the first pitch for ball one. Galarraga has led the National League in strikeouts the last 2 years. But he still has a lifetime average of .282 with 77 home runs. He makes contact. He hits around .400.
Hal McRae said he won't strike out as much as he struck out in the past because now he's going to try to hit the ball the other way when it's outside.
If he starts trying to hit the ball the other way, he'll stop hitting home runs, and that pitch sort of a half swing. It's 1-1.
No, he wants him to use the whole field. He doesn't want him hitting inside fastballs down the right field line.
Galarraga can hit left-hand pitching. He has hit 184 points higher against left-hand pitching than right-hand pitching as you look at McRae.
And Kenny Singleton, who broadcasts Montreal games, is telling me that
there it is, a fly ball to the opposite field. And an easy out.
Kenny Singleton said he has seen an improvement with Galarraga since working with Hal McRae.
Well, when Galarraga has put the ball in play over the past 3 years, he's hit .386. So those strikeouts have really hurt him.
Yeah, he wants him to cut down those strikeouts.
That'll bring up the newcomer, Larry Walker. Walker playing right field, hitting .200. He's 2 for 10. Played in 20 games for Montreal last year and hit .170. And the fastball is missed. Walker at Indianapolis, the #1 farm club for Montreal, hit .270 with 12 home runs in '89. Wallach draws a little toss from David Cohn.
Walker is from Canada, Maple Ridge, British Columbia.
Not many native-born Canadians have played for Montreal. Again, a throw over there.
They're going to have to start getting some real quality players who are born and brought up in Canada to make the Montreal Expos successful. Too many guys want to have good years and sign with other clubs. Even Raines tried it.
And a strike call.
Tim Raines wanted to play out his option and was unable to do it. Ended up re-signing with the Expos.
Money talks. And the fastball outside to count 1-2.
They say the tax problem up here is one of the reasons some of the players want to move away. But Jim Fanning, who was a broadcaster on the radio side with the Expos, one-time front office executive, told me that if the player is good enough, he can work it out in his deal where the Expos will pay his Canadian taxes.
And a swing and a miss, and David Cohn gets his first strikeout. Got him with a fastball.
Another look at that strikeout. Nasty pitch right there. Might have been down and out of the strike zone. Barry Lyons coming out of the chute, ready to throw.
Called it a fastball. It was a split finger forkball. So he picks up his first strikeout. 2 men out here in the bottom of the second. No score, and the batter will be Nelson Santovenia. And a good play by Lyons. Santovenia, a lifetime .243 hitter with a total of 13 home runs. He's hit the Mets well. And there's the fastball. 1 ball now, 2. Santovenia 1 for 8 so far this year. Expos playing their 22nd home opener. They won 14 and lost 7, and against the Mets in home openers, they're 3-2. High pop-up. Alster making the call, and he handles the wind very well and makes the catch. 1 on a single, 1 left, and the score at the end of 2. The Mets nothing, the Expos nothing. Oh, you're looking at Doc Gooden right there, the proud father of a daughter that has been named Ashley, 8 pounds. And Monica, his wife, in the hospital at Bayshore Municipal Center in St. Petersburg. Baby was born at 11:42 this morning. The doctor was all set to fly down there for the birth. Called up and was talking to Monica, and he heard some noises. What is that noise in the background? And Monica said, "That's your new daughter." So he'll be going down after he pitches tomorrow. No score as we go to the top of the 3rd, and it will be David Cohn as the leadoff batter for the Mets. David led all pitchers in base hits last year. All pitchers in the major leagues with 18 base hits. Both these pitchers are good hitters. And Cohn looks. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kevin Gross has been used as a pinch hitter by Montreal. And Cohn slices it down into left field for his first hit of this year. And he's going to try and keep that title of the most hits by pitchers in a season.
Here it is again. David Cohn slapping the ball the other way. He's become a pretty good hitting pitcher. Came over from the American League where he never swung the bat.
So Cohn is on with no one out, and Greg Jeffries batting for the 2nd time. Greg was struck out his first time up. Hits are even at 2 apiece. The runs are even at none. And it's ball 1.
Hey fans, be sure to catch Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, and Burt Lancaster in the baseball movie of 1989, Field of Dreams. Premiering this month on your pay-per-view service. Check the pay-per-view channel or cable guide for ordering details. Not available in all areas.
Greg Jeffries with a runner at first. Galarraga playing off the bag. This one topped down to Galarraga, but it's in foul territory.
If you stand around the batting cage before the ball game, you take a look at some of these players. They got some big arms. But you think it's overrated.
Babe Ruth had big arms.
Yes, he
Small
did.
legs.
But you know, it's funny talking to yourself many times, and then this spring I had an opportunity to talk to Henry Aaron about it, and you guys seem to think along the same lines. Henry Aaron felt that the way to hit the ball over the fence and the way to hit the ball hard is to hit baseballs, not to lift weights.
I certainly buy that.
Of course, when you were younger, you had some solid-looking guns yourself.
Well, I hit an awful lot of baseballs.
Didn't lift weights.
I did lift weights one time.
Yeah.
And the pitch inside. After my first year in the major leagues, I went home, and that winter went on a weight program. And
But you weren't able to build up that body. No way.
it was impossible. I was considered pretty big when I played. I was 6'1½", weighed 195 pounds. Today, that's a midget. And there's a smash to right field and hauled in by the right fielder Larry Walker. So Jeffries hits it hard, is turned away, and Cohen goes back to first.
You get some satisfaction out of hitting the ball real hard, but not a whole lot. For a moment you think, well, I hit the ball hard, and then it sets in, well, it's still an 0 for 1. You know, speaking of Mr. Kiner hitting the ball, Doc Edwards told me when he worked out with San Diego, when you were the general manager, you got the players out of there, you stepped in with the bat in your street clothes, and you were hitting balls into the seats at the stadium in San Diego.
Small ballpark.
Was it? Yeah, ball carried well.
Now the batter will be Keith Miller. Miller lined out to center field. A good play on up by Marquise Grissom, his first time up. And he looks for ball one. You don't see any of those Mr. Americas hitting baseballs very far. In fact, they can't hit them at all.
Too many
muscle
muscles.
bound.
So you don't like those guys to lift weights?
No, I didn't say that.
And Danny Regan brings to our attention, and it's been in the paper many times, ex-Met Lenny Dykstra.
Well, I guarantee you a dinner will bet on this one that Lenny Dykstra doesn't increase his home run production 10% with that extra weight.
You got to bet.
You got it. There's ball two. 2 balls and 1 strike.
It's amazing. Once you get that home run swing, muscles have nothing to do with it.
It is just like in golf. Size means nothing. Get those guys that weigh 135 pounds can hit at 280 yards just like the guys that weigh 210. And the reason being, you're playing with a implement, a golf club or a baseball bat, and it's the speed of that implement that determines how far you hit it, not your strength.
Do you think you could step up to home plate now and hit the ball over the fence? I mean, you know, in batting practice would say 10 pitches.
Absolutely not.
I was waiting for a wager right there.
2 balls and 2 strikes. That reminds me of the great story about Ty Cobb. They asked Lefty O'Doul what Cobb would hit if he were playing today. He says about 315. He had a lifetime average of 367 in his major league career. And the guy says, "Is that all?" He says, "Yeah, but you have to remember he'd be 97 years old." 3-2 the count. Cohen, the runner at first. Galarraga playing behind him. 1 man out. With Miller at the plate, he might be running. See how much confidence Davey Johnson has in Keith Miller. Not much, as he wasn't running. The ball is looped into shallow center field. Going back to make the play as to Shields. And Miller is out.
No substitute for good speed. The Shields made a fine play right here. I was told before the game by members of the Montreal coaching staff he's rough around the edges. He wasn't rough there. That was a fine play.
Well, he started his career as a shortstop.
Well, I mentioned before he also was an All-American in high school in baseball, basketball, football. Had a full ride to Villanova, so you know that he'll be able to make the adjustment to second base.
Outstanding young prospect. He was drafted #1 by Montreal. Might have gone quicker, except that he had signed up a letter of intent to play basketball at Villanova. They didn't think that he would leave basketball to play baseball.
I'll tell you, the Expos have been fortunate in bringing some pretty good talent out of their minor league system.
Now with 2 men out, Howard Johnson the batter. Howard with an infield hit his first time up. And he takes a strike.
In fact, the gentleman instrumental in helping develop some of that talent in the ballpark today, Dan Duquette. Works for the Montreal Expos as farm director, now assistant general manager.
1 strike to count to Howard Johnson, no score. And he holds off. It's called a ball by third base umpire Steve Ripley. No swing, and it's 1-1.
Dan Duquette was a teammate of Mike Ryan's at Amherst College. Mike is now in charge of broadcasting with the Mets.
Oh, he had to carry a load there.
Well, he did.
The 1-1 pitch hit to the shortstop, Spike Owen, not hit hard, and that retires the side. So a base hit, a runner left at first, and the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Mets nothing, the Expos nothing. Well, right here, no score as David Cone gets set to work to Spike Owen. Both sides with 2 hits in the game.
Well, when you look at that name, Cone, you think of ice cream. When you think of ice cream, you think of Breyers. When you think of Breyers, we get a Breyer scoop. In 1989, David Cone had a 4.50 ERA in his first 3 innings of his starts. 2.79 ERA in all other innings. How about that, Ralph, for a Breyer scoop?
That's a double scoop right there. Most good pitchers do have trouble getting started, and the good ones, when they get going, you don't get them early, you don't get them at all. And the first pitch to Spike Owen, taken for ball 1. Spike, a .240 lifetime hitter in his 7th full season in the major leagues. Fired from the Boston Red Sox. Swings through the fastball, 1-1. Spike Owen solidified the infield for Montreal. Playing a fine shortstop for the Expos last season. A good curve by Cone, and the count 1-2.
Expos said the one thing they did not have prior to Owen taking over at shortstop was they didn't have a shortstop that would be steady from the 6th inning on. They always had trouble with errors at that position.
And a fly ball out to left center field. A long run and no chance to make the play as Miller couldn't get to it. Owen on his way to third. The throw will not be in time, and Spike Owen with a 3-base hit.
Spike Owen driving the ball a long way the other way, and Miller lost his footing as he was pursuing the ball. And McReynolds gets over, picks the ball up. Good base running by Spike Owen, because ordinarily guys are cruising into second base. He had that ball in front of him and extended the double into a triple.
And the second ball that Keith Miller has not played well in center field so far this year. The other was a 3-base hit by Wally Backman, so he has had trouble on 2 balls, both turned into 3-base hits. That brings up Gross. And this ball hit to left field. It drops into fair territory, and coming in from third is Spike Owen, and Montreal leads it 1-0.
Kevin Gross, as Ralph mentioned earlier, an excellent hitting pitcher, helping his own cause. This ball just staying fair. A well-placed double down the left field line. Owen scores easily, and Gross on second base.
So Montreal scores first, and now with a runner in scoring position and no one out, it'll be Delino Shields as the batter. Shields singled on his first pitch his first time up. And he moves into bunting position, takes a strike. We mentioned that DeShields broke into the major leagues with a 4-hit game. Only one player in modern day history ever got 5 hits in his opening day game, went 5 for 5. Cecil Travis of the Washington Senators in 1933 did that. Shields became the 11th to get 4 hits in one game, his opening game in the major leagues. Another was Casey Stengel. The story goes that Casey got 4 for 4 his first 4 times up, and then went over on the other side of the plate his 5th time up and walked. And he was not a switch hitter. So he was a clown in his very first game.
Well, the Expos very high on this guy, DeShields. You gotta like him as a hitter, Ralph, if you look at the way he stands at the plate and strides right into the pitch.
He is quite an athlete. 1-2 the count to DeShields, and it's a swing and a miss. So DeShields struck out. Cohen gets his second strikeout.
Welcome to the split finger fastball. Bad pitch right there. DeShields chasing it out of the strike zone.
And it brings up Marquise Grissom. Grissom grounded into a double play his first time up. And a breaking ball, a called strike. Fastball, slice foul into the stand, strike 2. Grissom played in 26 games for Montreal last year. As you look at David Cohn working to him, batted .257 with a home run. One ball, 2 strikes.
They said for 30 minutes each day in spring training, Grissom would run from home to first, trying to improve his speed.
And a good breaking ball. So 2 strikeouts in a row after the triple and double put Montreal up.
One thing is, you got to hit it to use your speed to go to first, and the Laredo gets Grissom. Funny, it wasn't a bad ball to hit, but what happened was Grissom bailed out on it and was unable to take advantage of it, but the ball hung there in the middle, the inner part of the plate.
So 2 men away, and Tim Raines the batter. Raines grounded out his first time up, and a check swing, and David Cohen takes the ground ball and picks up the out. So 1 run on 2 hits, 1 left in scoring position. The score at the end of 3, Montreal 1, the New York Mets nothing. Well, we're inside here at the Big O, and coming in now, a man who owned the city of Montreal, known better as the Grand Orange, here in Montreal in his playing days, Mr. Rusty Staub.
Thanks, Ralph. I might have had a little rental for a while. I don't know if I owned it.
Didn't quite get the final payment down.
Nope. In fact, with all the negative things that you hear from time to time, especially with players eliminating Montreal from the possibility of trade, a lot of contracts that players sign say that they have a certain number of teams that they can say they cannot be traded to. It seems as though a lot of the players are picking the two Canadian clubs, to the chagrin of the two Canadian clubs, obviously. That's become a little bit of a problem. But this is a wonderful place to live and a wonderful place to play baseball. Darryl Strawberry going to lead it off for the Mets. Top of the 4th inning. Strawberry takes the ball.
You probably wouldn't make that statement if they didn't have a short porch in Park Drury in right field.
Well, this ballpark is not an advantageous ballpark for left-handed hitters, but the ball does move in this ballpark.
I think that determines whether you like a city more than anything else, what kind of distance the fence is that you like to hit the ball out of.
I loved Houston, and it was a terrible ballpark for a home run hitter. Kevin Gross delivers to Strawberry. Fly ball. Plenty room for Raines. 1 down. Kevin McReynolds coming up. First time up, he hit a ball extremely hard. Nice play by the shortstop. Otherwise, the Mets might have gotten on the scoreboard. Gross struggled a little bit in the first inning. Gave up a single to Howard Johnson. Howard stole second. He walked Strawberry. And McReynolds hit a shot, but a fine play by Spike Owens killed the rally. Change in Pelotas. Nice opening day crowd in the Big O.
You can't call a baseball a pelota up here in Montreal.
Sure you can.
That's only south of the border. When you played up here, you did learn a little bit about the French language.
I tried very hard, Ralph. There's a breaking ball for a strike. First winter I was here, I went to one of the language schools, took 25 hour-and-a-half lessons. Really tried to concentrate on being able to say baseball terms and just get around the city. Breaking ball way outside.
I think if there's any one thing you can do to endear yourself to an area where they do speak a foreign language is to learn the language of that area.
It got to be I could go into the French community, go throughout the province of Quebec with one of the interpreters, and he would tell me what they were asking in French, and I could normally answer something in my own broken French. He'd tell me in English, I'd answer in French. People thought I was bilingual, and I no way claimed to be.
They say about 70% of the people in this area, including Quebec, are bilingual.
McReynolds gets a free pass. Second walk given up by Kevin Gross. My own personal congratulations to Dwight Gooden and Monica on having that child today. That's something, isn't it? Doc will be flying back to pitch on Sunday. Maybe Johnson switching the rotation to Darling tomorrow. You're looking at Mike Marshall. Marshall finally got on the board yesterday with a base hit. Went down on strikes his first time up. Swinging a good breaking ball. Tossed to first. Relatively close play. Santavena likes to throw.
Big swing by Marshall. It's a perfect pitch to throw to first. On a breaking ball like that, when you're a base runner, you have a tendency to lean toward the other bag that's ahead. Get picked off very easily.
Looks like he wants it inside. And there it comes. See that catcher point that little finger, or his index finger, toward that batter. Going to bring some hemp.
Well, Kevin Gross is known for the fact that he does hit a few batters now and then. He led the league in hitting batters a couple of times.
Well, his biggest problem last year was too many walks. Tossed to first base. 88 walks, 4th in the league. He had that topsy-turvy year again. In his wins, he pitches remarkably well. In his losses, he's terrible. So far, he's pitched well. Ground ball. Nice play. Third baseman goes to first. Goes to the second baseman. Gets the lead runner. No chance for the double play.
Wallach, a fine fielding third baseman. This is a breaking ball hit off the end of the bat. Wallach, with good range, gets out there and picks it up. Gets it over to the second baseman to Shields in time for the force.
That was an awkward throw. Kind of couldn't get his body turned enough to really make any kind of a good effort throwing the ball. The ball's a little low to the Shields. I think he might have heard Kevin McReynolds coming down that second baseline. Let me get out of here. Lyons flew out to right field his first time up. Galarraga playing behind Marshall at first. Ball fouled out of play. Everyone's looking for a big year from Barry Lyons. Even though he got a chance to play for the first time last year. He had a couple of periods where he was hurt pretty bad, Ralph. It really kind of, I think, took the punch out of his offense. You get it going a little bit, and then you're on the DL for a while. It kind of, all your rhythm goes.
He had a fine May. And then got hurt. Had a very, very poor June.
You try to come back too soon. You want to have your position back. Might have come back too soon. High hemp. That time Gross not bringing it way inside. A la Mike Marshall. As Ralph said, he likes to do it. Little looper. DeShields can't get it. Marshall, looking at the play, decides to stay at second base. Broken bat single for Barry Lyons.
Batting the shortstop, Kevin Elster.
Kevin Elster still looking for that elusive first hit.
He's 0 for 9. You hate to get off to a bad start. That's one thing that all ball players, when they start a new season, they want that base hit early.
Good thing about this part of the year is one good day can turn it right around. Throw a 3 for 4.
He's hitting 250.
He's right in there.
Yeah.
Men on first and second, 2 down. Good breaking ball.
Gross throwing fewer curveballs in this ball game than he normally does. He's been staying with his fastball and split finger. Normally throws you about 80% breaking balls.
Marshall at second base is going to have to make sure he gets a good jump. Ball way outside. When you don't have tremendous speed, you have to make sure you get a good lead and a good jump off the bag, especially on AstroTurf. Ball is going to get to the outfielders a little quicker.
This outfield playing very shallow.
Except for Raines.
Well, he doesn't know how to play shallow.
He cannot play shallow. I think it's in the rule book.
He has a great speed, too.
He's got it. Kevin Gross, not a rapid worker.
He's an artist. He paints. Pitches like he paints.
Takes his
dab
time
here, a
pitching.
dab there, and
Yeah. 2 balls and a strike. Line drive grounder. Little toss to the shortstop by the Shields. Mets are going to strand 2 more runners. After 3 1/2, they trail 1-0.
one of the things that's noticed And is noticeable the fact they don't have the organ player here anymore. They've gone to that loud noise on the PA system.
Yeah, Fernand Lapierre is no longer playing his organ. Whatever this is they have here, it is loud. You're looking at it. That's what's generating all this noise. It's on both sides of the field, plus right down the middle is another one. I have never been in a ballpark where the music is louder than it is this year.
Boy, it is loud, and also a tradition has gone to history.
Yes.
The organ player, a very popular man here for years and years, going back to Parc Jury.
Might have been too tough a negotiator. Whatever it is, or whatever happened, he is no longer here at the Big O. Tim Wallach, 2 balls, no strikes.
One of the features of Parc Jury was the fellow that used to dance in the stands to the music of the organ player.
It was something. It was no ballpark like it ever. That ball fouled out of play. The dancer used to come in one specific inning. They had a guy that used to have a goose he used to walk in and bought a seat for. I know they had a dog at one time at Shea.
Yeah, they had Homer at Shea.
Yeah.
He had a whole block of seats.
Yeah. Well, the goose wasn't as much of a problem.
The Mets
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Had that mule at one time when Mrs. DeRoulet was running the ball club.
One of the better decisions was to get rid of the mule.
I'll tell you, Homer was something. They trained that dog. They had that fellow that used to train Lassie. Came out of Hollywood. He had a suite at the hotel at the Waldorf Astoria with the dog. And they trained him, and they trained him to run the bases like you would if you hit a home run. And just true to the way the Mets were in those early days, they couldn't do anything right. The dog forgot to touch third. Went from first to second and then cut across for home.
Slider outside, full count. Everybody talking about the number of new faces with the Montreal Expos.
That trader's name was Weatherwax. Weatherwax.
Yeah.
Famous trader.
Line drive up the middle. Base hit. Back-to-back singles to center field for Tim Wallach.
Wallach going through the middle for the second time. And for the second time, he leads off an inning with a base hit. Back in the second, he got no further than first base. Or actually no farther than first base.
As I was saying earlier, everybody talking about all the Expos and the new rookies. 5 rookies on this ball club. Don't forget the Mets have 10 new people on an opening day roster. There are 27. Actually, there are 10 people missing from last year's opening day roster. But not so much on that hill. Very strong in the starting pitching department. David Cohn throws a lot of curveballs like that. They're going to be a lot of weak hacks. That was unbelievable breaking ball.
No matter where Galarraga tries to hit, that pitch is not going to be hit very often.
That's a right home, Mom. They're starting to hook me. Don't rent the room. Fouled straight back by Galarraga. Wallach not a real base stealing threat, although Rogers likes to be aggressive. Galarraga handles the bat very well. Of course, the count is 0-2. Big hole between second and first. He gets him on a good breaking ball. The toss to first. Academic.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Galarraga has led the league in strikeouts the last 2 years, and that's a very good Laredo-type breaking ball in a perfect position. Great pitch by David Cohn to pick up his 4th strikeout.
And that is the first time that Andres Galarraga, who led the league in strikeouts last year, struck out this year. Swing and a miss by Larry Walker. I would think many conversations were had in spring training with Andres, discussing contact and how important it is for him to really drive some runs in and make some contact, especially with those runners on the sacks. We'll pick up that time. by Barry Lyons. 1-1. Wallach did have 3 stolen bases last year.
He's had 40 in his major league career over 9 years.
He's a little tricky. Not a very good lead right now. Ground ball to second. Toss to the shortstop Elster, over to first. Double play. Good turn that time by the middle of the infield. After 4 full innings, it's still the Expos 1 and the Mets nothing. Back at the Big O, Mets trailing 1-0. Kevin Gross has been pitching a fine ball game. Both he and David Cohn have wicket breaking balls today. Gary Darling, the umpire behind the plate, probably talk about it. You see Buck Rogers. I would think it's great to have a position like that umpire to see some of these great pitchers break off some of those pitches.
Best seat in the house.
About as close as you can get. Strike call. David Cohn slapped a single to left field. This time Raines way over to the line and in. Gross comes in with that fastball. 1-1. The outfield has not shifted with him totally. Good breaking ball. Ball and 2 strikes.
We're talking about Kevin Gross leading the league in hitting batters. He's also a pretty tough guy. Last year he saved Pascual Perez's life. We'll get into that in a minute.
I can believe that.
Of course, Pascual Perez could get in all kinds of trouble.
Cohn hits the ball sharply right at the third baseman Wallach, who snags it.
But Pascual Perez was pitching and he dusted off Kurt Gibson, the big football player that plays baseball for the Dodgers. And Gibson was after Perez, and Kevin Gross went out and tackled Gibson and pinned him right to the ground.
That would have been interesting had he not. That was all over a confrontation. Pascal took off as Gibson was going after him. That was one of the smartest decisions he ever made.
I'll tell you, he might not be able to find the stadium, but he knew where to go when Gibson was coming out after him.
No balls and a strike to Jeffries. Just outside. 1-1. Certain players, when you check their eyes when they're mad, you don't want anything to do with them. Good breaking balls all day by Kevin Gross. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Jeffries gets a little piece of that.
It was David Cohn that was on the mound when Pedro Guerrero charged him when Cohn hit him with a curveball.
That was one of the weakest acts I ever saw in my life.
Took him about 20 minutes to get out there.
Well, he had to make sure that they had enough people around him to grab him before he charged. There's David. What had happened is Cohn had thrown a pitch tough inside on him before that in the game. So when he hit him with the curveball, Pedro made an error in judgment.
He got suspended for it for 3 days.
Still a ball and 2 strikes on Jeffries. Fights that fastball outside off. Count remains the same. Expos walked 17 batters in the first 3 games this year against St. Louis. So far, 2 today have been walked by Kevin Gross. As we said earlier, That was one of his big problems. 4th in the league in walks. Line drive almost hits Gross. Jeffries hit a seed right back through the box.
Center fielder Keith Miller.
Well, this is right back through the originator, and there's no doubt about it. Gross is out of there, and rightfully so. Self-preservation is more important.
Get out of the way of that.
Remember, it makes good sense to drink responsibly, know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Makes good sense to duck
In a hurry. Jeffries a nice lead at first. Dives back in. Miller hit a line drive to the center fielder in the 1st inning. Popped up on a very nice play by the Shields in the 3rd. Ball's hit well left field. But a fine running play by Raines is going to send Keith Miller back to the dugout for the 2nd time after hitting a hard line drive.
He's hit the ball well twice, and the other time he blooped it and almost got a base hit, but a good play took a base hit away. So he's turned away 0 for 3 so far today.
To get you babbling in that dugout. Brings up Howard Johnson. Howard single, stole a base in the 1st, and lined out to the shortstop. It's just missing. This is a situation where a guy like Howard Johnson, who is such a good pull hitter, has a man on first, has the hole, and you want to pull the ball now. You want to look for a pitch to pull. That one, you can't think to get the batter. There's that hole. Actually, Delano de Shields playing a little bit toward the hole. Obviously, there's no double play in order. We'll see if Jeffries is going to be aggressive on the bases. Not going. Outside. 3-0.
In yesterday's ball game, Jeffries stole second base on a 3-0 pitch. That's something you seldom see.
Pitcher was not paying any attention at all to Jeffries. He took advantage of it.
See if he'll do it here again.
It's good to charge the troops up. As a regular practice, it's not a good move. It was a breaking ball on a 3-0 count.
There's some respect right there. 3 balls, no strikes, and they throw a breaking ball here. And that's great respect. So Howard Johnson's going to have to start thinking a little bit about that. Howard with 36 home runs last year.
Well, what he really should do, in my opinion, right now is look for the pitch he wants. It's a 3-1 count. If he makes another good pitch, take it.
Absolutely.
Then you can adjust on 3-2. But right now, get the pitch you want to pull.
That's what you call a hitter situation. You really guess. There's no doubt about it. You can guess curveball if you think he's going to throw a curveball. Look for it in a certain spot. If you get it, swing away. If you don't get it, take it. That's the science of hitting.
Just get the pitch you want right now, or don't hit it. Gross very aware of Jeffries at first. Little timeout now. Little debris came on the field. Andres Galarraga cleaning up a little bit around first. The big cat, the Grand Gato. There goes Jeffries. Ball inside, ball 4. Third walk by Gross. Gets Jeffries in the scoring position for Darryl Strawberry.
Third time the Mets have had runners at first and second in this game. They have not scored. 3-0-1 nothing.
In the first inning, Kevin McReynolds did hit a bullet. Nice play by Spike Owens. Crushed that rally. Strawberry with a chance here. Ball outside. Infield and outfield all extremely deep for Darryl. It's one of those situations, if Darryl got a couple of strikes on him and Wallach played exactly where he is right now, I mean, he is deep at third base. You just want to try to generate a little activity. Jeffries might be able to get to third base quicker than Wallach. See those pipes on Darryl. Worked on those weights a little bit this winter. A breaking ball inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Darrell's got to look fastball. Gross has gone with it most of the way. But when he had Howard Johnson in the driver's seat 3-0, he threw a breaking ball.
I'd look curveball here if I were hitting. Take the fastball.
Whatever you want to do, you got to sit on one pitch. You'll see this a lot where the hitter steps out on Gross. It takes him a long time to get his signals, and he's a very slow, deliberate pitcher. See Santavena saying he wants this pitch away. Breaking ball all the way. Nice call, Ralphie.
Well, you got to take it when it's not where you want it. So it's ball 3. But that's the whole thing. You got to look for the pitch, but you have to have the discipline to take it if it's not exactly where you want it.
Line drive. It's going to fall in. Raines just lets the ball drop. The Mets are going to tie the score. Jeffries comes across home plate. Strawberry with his RBI single.
Oh, Darryl gets his second RBI of the year. Both have come on singles with a runner at second base, and here he just puts a bat on the ball on a tough pitch and drops in front of Tim Raines. Coming around to score is Jeffries, who had singled and moved to second on the walk.
Same situation. Then on first and second, 2 down. Up and in, ball 1. You like to see that, where a hitter in that position gets a tough pitch down in the way. He didn't try to pull that pitch, drove in a run. Sometimes you have to go against the grain. A little looper. This might fall in. Nope. Walker's there. He's going to retire the Mets, but not before they tie the score. After 4.5 innings, it's 1 apiece.
Tonight it's game 5 of the NHL's Patrick Division playoffs. At 7:45, the New Jersey Devils host the Washington Capitals on SportsChannel. And at 8:30, the New York Islanders take on the New York Rangers on SportsChannel America. That's the Patrick Division playoffs tonight, live and exclusive on SportsChannel.
It'll be the bottom of the order for the Montreal Expos. Nelson Santavena, Spike Owen, and the pitcher Kevin Gross. Mets have tied this game up 1 apiece. The attractive fan in the stands. Santavena has popped up in this game. Kevin Elster going to try someone new this time. Looks like Jeffries. Strawberry calling Jeffries off. Ooh, and a little bit of a snow cone, but he gets it.
The shortstop, Spike
Tell you one thing that's good about that. It shows that Darryl is paying attention a little more and getting a good jump. We know he, you know, and we were part of the informational guide as far as him playing too deep and not getting good jumps, but they did work on it this spring. Darryl's made a couple of statements about how he's determined to get to be better in the outfield. That's good signs for the Mets. Ball to Spike Owen. Owen tripled and scored the run for the Expos. Was in the bottom of the third inning. Kevin Gross followed that triple with a double down the left field line. That's how the Expos got on the board. 2 balls, no strikes. First half of the year last year, Spike Owen had a tremendous on-base percentage. Everybody was talking about him being the most valuable player on this ball club. I thought that was nuts. Tim Raines was the most valuable player. High pop-up. Everybody's calling it. And wisely, Elster makes the play.
Let the sure man have it, and Kevin Elster, certainly the sure man, won 88 games without making an error over 2 seasons, an all-time record for a shortstop. And yesterday, Ryan Sandberg set a record for making no errors through 92 games, breaking a record that was held by Joe Morgan, who had gone 91 games without an error at second base.
Congratulations to Ryan Sandberg. Kevin Gross, big swing and a miss.
So Joe Morgan will have one less great stat to put on that Hall of Fame plaque, which he gets this year, inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Very deserving. I think he's the best second baseman in the history of the game.
Over Rogers Hornsby? Come on now.
I never saw him get a hit, Ralph.
I know you didn't. You young fellas don't remember all those great plays.
I knew I was going to stir you on that, Ralph. We did this last year. You forgot.
You get
Oh,
me
you're
every
easy.
time
You're
right
easy.
there. There's a man that hit 400 over 5 consecutive years.
I know,
man.
Ralph. I know. Get in there, pal. I like it.
424 he hit one year as a right-hand batter.
All right. Kevin Gross goes down. Nice inning that time for David Cohn. After 5 full innings, it's all tied, 1 up. Marshall's going to lead it off for the New York Mets. Marshall trying to adjust to his new slot at first base for the Mets. He's been working hard on it. Biggest thing for him, though, is to get that lumber going. And he does right there, except for the fact that Delino DeShields was standing right there and snagged that line drive.
Well, Mets have hit a lot of line drives have been caught by Montreal in this game. DeShields shows his jumping ability, a fine basketball player. Wonder if he can jump as high as Jose Lean.
I doubt it.
Lean can jump from the standing start over people's heads. And I'm not talking about little people either.
We're not talking Ernie Fazio, right?
No, sir. Hey, there's a name out of the blue. He signed with the Houston Ball Club.
Yes, he did.
#1 draft choice.
Now the pop-up. Galarraga over toward the stands, fights the warm-up mound there, but makes the play. That's a dangerous, dangerous location for a bullpen mound. Somebody really had to run hard to get something. You can get hurt.
I'd like to remind you, New York Mets baseball is being brought to you by Manufacturers Hanover, where your money has power.
Home run power, Ralph?
Even home run power.
Kevin Elster takes a strike on the outside corner. Kevin trying to pop that first one in. That side-on breaking ball. David Cohn has been pretty effective with that pitch. A lot of people feel that Kevin Gross has been hurt on that pitch a lot. They don't like it. He keeps throwing. Ground ball is short. Spike going up with it. That's going to be it for Elster. And the New York Mets. A nice, easy top of the 6th inning for Kevin Gross. It's still tied. We'll be right back. We're looking at Olympic Stadium. This is quite an edifice. A lot of controversy about this stadium. I do like the roof, though, Ralph. Thought they picked a nice color.
Picked a beautiful color, and thank goodness it's on top and closed today, because it's cold outside. 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. Temperature around 30 degrees centigrade. No, 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's it. There was a great picture in Jim Fanning when he was the general manager of this ball club. On an opening day in Parc Jarry, there was a picture of me going for a fly ball, and behind me was this 10-foot mound of snow. Incredible. Jim has promised me, in fact, he talked to me about it today, when you see that strike call, that he would give me a copy of that photograph. Delino DeShields. Cone, a sinking fastball out of the strike zone. A base hit and a strikeout. And a ground ball to Jeffries. And DeShields is out.
If you remember last year, the Montreal Expos were in first place on August the 4th. They were leading by 2 games, and they lost 3 straight to the Mets and then 3 more to the Cubs. And from that point on, went 18-36 to finish 12 games out.
And during that one stretch after they made that trade for Langston, it was an incredible period for the Expos. They won 41 and lost 21.
They were leading the Mets by 2.5 games at the All-Star break, and the Cubs by a game and a half. Oh, they really collapsed.
One and one to McKee's Grissom. Slider away. 2 balls and a strike. In the pre-game show today, Buck Rogers was talking about the on-deck hitter, Tim Raines. Now he wants him to be in an RBI slot. Ball popped out of play. He feels with DeShields and Grissom, with their speed and their ability to get on base, he does not need Raines, as great a leadoff hitter as Raines was, to be in that slot. I'm not too sure he should have been in that 4 slot last year, but the 3 slot is a little more suited to him. He's not a power type guy, but he is a good RBI guy.
They added some speed when they got rid of Hubie Brooks and lost some power.
Full count. Catches the outside corner. What a pitch by David Cone. 2 down.
Cone gets his 6th strikeout, and this one is perfect on a 3-2 count as he goes to the breaking ball. That pitch just about unhittable. That's in the major leagues.
Well, that's a good one. That's an overmatch right there.
They don't throw those pitches in the minor leagues.
Not too often. Not for long. If somebody can throw those, they get up here in a hurry. Here's Raines. Ground ball. Jeffries has it. Over to Marshall. And a quick inning. But David Cone, this game is rolling right along. After 6, it's still tied 1 apiece. Still a tie score, 1 apiece. And I'm going to turn the reins of this play-by-play over to a guy who probably had one of the real outstanding arms behind the plate. He doesn't talk about it enough, but he really hit a gun. Sometimes now he should carry a gun now. Fran Healy.
Okay, Rusty. And leading off for the Mets will be David Cone. Interesting ball game, all tied at 1. Nice crowd on hand opening day. And Tony hits a fly ball deep right field. Walker going back and makes the grab. One down.
You're looking at Drew Hall throwing some pitches down in the bullpen. Remember, abbreviated spring training, as good as Gross is pitching. They're counting the number of pitches that he's thrown. David Cohn's hit the ball well 3 times.
Yes, he has. Better now, Greg Jeffries. Jeffries in this ball game, 1 for 3. Inside, ball 1. What do you think of these Montreal Expos? Ralph and I were talking about before, having trouble keeping players here in Montreal.
It can be rectified a lot of ways, either by the organizational making an adjustment if someone is traded up. Something's going to have to happen, because that's a shame for a city, a great city like this. They have problems with certain players not wanting to come up here because of the taxation problems.
By the way, 1-1 on Jeffries. They tell me that a lot of them are upset that only 2 players really have done well off the field commercially up here. I'm sitting with one of them, and the other's Gary Carter.
That was in the beginning. There wasn't really a tremendous amount of money that was made off the field. There was a lot of things done for the game, I think.
Fly ball, deep center field. Grissom going back and makes the grab. 2 down. You know, the Montreal Expos have 3 rookie players in their everyday lineup. In the National League, there are only 5. The other 2, Eric Anthony and Todd Zeal. On this ball club, they have the Shields at second base, Walker in right field, Grissom in center field. And the batter now, Keith Miller, he's 0 for 3.
But it has not been his fault. He's hit 2 line drives and had the second baseman make a wonderful play on a little looper to right center. Could easily be 3 for 3.
The 0-1 pitch is a good moving fastball right there. 0-2.
That was that drop down on the side. That was a good fastball.
Two men down. The 0-2 pitch. This is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We're in the top of the 7th inning. It's all tied at 1. 5 hits for each club. Opening day, opening home game for the Expos here at the Big O. There's a shot in the gap right there between short and third. Base hit. So Keith Miller hitting the ball hard today is 1 for 4.
Watching third baseman, Howard Johnson.
You got to keep plugging. Nobody says it's fair in this game. 3 almost hits, and then probably the least impressive of all of his at-bats. He gets a hit.
And the batter now, Howard Johnson, who has a hit in his ball game. He's 1 for 2. It was an infield hit back in the 1st inning. The Expos with a 1-2 record coming into today's action, similar to the Mets. Up high with a fastball, ball 1.
Mets really struggled the Big O last year. Only 2 wins in the 9 appearances here. It was not a good outing. 1989.
Split the season series with the Expos.
Yep, 7-2 at home, 2-7 on the road.
The 1-0 pitch is outside. 2-0.
Mets with 6 hits. They have not really caught in fire yet.
Runner on first base, Keith Miller. You send him?
Why not? Howard Johnson's going to swing or take on his own. You want him in his 2-strike situation to only get a pitch that he wants. I like to see that runner go. Some people say they don't want the runner to go on a 2-ball, no-strike count, 2 down. Not me. If I was the hitter, I want him to go. Move it.
Chance for an RBI with a double, and there's a line drive, base hit right field. Miller was not going, will go to third base. The throw from Walker cut off, wisely cut off. So the Mets have runners on the corners. Howard Johnson with his second hit of the ball game.
Right fielder, Strawberry.
Take a look at it. Howard reaching out, that ball up and away, still pulls it just out of the reach of the Shields. And good aggressive base running by Miller. You see him going in, and a wise decision by Spike Owen to cut that ball.
Darryl Strawberry, the batter. Darryl with a single and an RBI his last time up. Much more relaxed at the plate now. There's a strike. That's that big strike zone right there.
Yes, it is. It's good to be relaxed at the plate, and as much as everybody's talked about Darryl Strawberry, we'll take a look at this pitch right here. That's a strike. Height on that is good enough. You can get relaxed, but you still have to have an aggressive frame of mind when you're up there. You can be calm, but you got to have that trigger ready to go.
I thought the first couple of games against the Pirates he looked tense at the plate.
I think he was looking to find a good pitch instead of saying I'm going to hit this pitch, and if it's not a good pitch, then say, okay, now I'm going to try to stop it. That little edge, it's so important.
1-1 on the straw man. 2 men down, 7th inning. We're tied at 1.
Now this is a circumstance where I would not want my base runner to try to steal second base. First baseman's got to hold him on, gives him a little bit of chance for the hole.
There's a ground ball to second base. This will do it for the Mets. Here in the 7th, they strand 2 runners. They fail to score. After 6.5, we're all tied at 1. Well, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at the Big O. You're watching Mets baseball exclusively on Sports Channel today. We'll be back again tomorrow afternoon. You got to tune in. We got the doctor on the mound.
Actually, the doctor is taken off.
Well, they changed it.
Yes.
Because he was staying. He was going to pitch and leave after the game, but they changed it again.
Well, there have been so many rumors running around here. I thought Dwight was going to leave.
It's like a trade rumor. The on again that was off again is on again.
Maybe we can get Jay Horowitz to tell us what's going on.
All right. As Tim Wallach steps in to lead off for the Expos.
It's kind of like your attitude about a player from time to time. Just depends on which way the wind is blowing.
But we'll find out.
We'll jump ship in a minute. The old weather vane.
I'm with you, winter tide. 1-0 on Wallach. Fastball swung on and missed. 1-1.
There you see Tim Burke. Pretty good situation here. Thinking that probably the pitcher is going to be removed, Kevin Gross.
Popped up. Is it playable? Looks it. Whoa. Barry Lyons tried to slide, but that AstroTurf stopped him.
That matting as you get off the AstroTurf is a rubberized coating. You're going to see he doesn't know exactly where he is. He tries to check it.
Watch. Oh. You don't have much give to that.
That was dangerous. We have a correction for you in that game in Chicago. We said Chicago was ahead 1-0. Cleveland's ahead 1-0. It may be reversed by the time we get back to the next inning, but we'll get that right soon.
1-2 on Wallach. Laredo, ground ball, third base. And it's bounced by Marshall. And Wallach goes to second base. So Hojo will pick up an error.
It's not a hard hit ball. Howard gets hold of it. Does not make a good throw. The ball's down on the turf. Comes up a lot. Marshall can't handle it. Tell you what, after a number of years of being spoiled by a certain first baseman named Keith Hernandez, it's going to take a little while for Marshall to really get acclimated over there.
Plus, defensively, Hernandez was not human. I mean, he was just unbelievable. So you put a guy who's human over at first base, and you got to make better throws. But anyways, the lead run on second base. We're all tied at 1. And the batter now, Andres Galarraga, who's 0 for 2. He takes down low, ball 1. Talking to Hal McRae before the ball game, and Ralph and I mentioned it earlier. McRae wants, he said, I don't tell Galarraga I want you to stop striking out. He said, but when you strike out, there are certain situations where it could be tolerated. He said he wants him to put the ball in play in a situation like this, and he does. Drive to right field. This will advance the runner. Strawberry gloves it, and Wallach cruises to third base.
Just excellent hitting by Galarraga there. Late in the game, runner on second, nobody out. He went with power, though. He just didn't give himself up. A guy like him should not give himself up. He almost hit that ball out of the ballpark. He's got good power the other way. Went with it. Almost hit a 2-run home run, but definitely got that runner to third base with less than 2 out.
So the big cat is in the dugout, but Wallach is 90 feet away from home plate. We're in the 7th inning, and so far this year, the Mets have kind of had their offense in neutral. Can't allow too many runs when you're in neutral.
Mets hitting only 194 as a team coming into this game.
And Larry Walker, the batter. Born and brought up right here in Canada. Swung on a miss, strike 1. The Montreal Expos organization signed Walker as a free agent here in Canada. And I'm told that the Expos have 3 scouts that cover all of Canada. When I asked why, they said not that many guys play baseball up here.
Still them grow up with that hockey stick.
Inside, 1-1. You know, if you're a youngster in Canada, you probably have played hockey. So therefore, if you play baseball, you can be a good low ball hitter like Richie Hebner.
Huh. Davey Johnson has the infield in.
There's Wallach. 1-1 on Walker. 2-1.
Especially with Santavena with no speed coming up next in the double play. Something that could really take place. Nice block that time by Barry Lyons. That's why you see David Cone pitching so tough right now, I believe, to Larry Walker. Got a chance for that double play with the next hitter.
Three and one on Walker.
Of course, there is always the bench. Buck Rogers could go to it.
Breaking ball misses inside, ball 4. So Walker goes to first base.
First walk of the game for David Cone. As I said, that was almost an intentional, unintentional, intentional.
And in a situation like this, you got Gross pitching a good ball game, although he might be out of there because of so many pitches. But you tend not to want to pull that starting catcher out of the game when the pitcher's comfortable pitching to him. And Nelson Santavena, the catcher, is going to hit. Runners on the corners, pretty good double play man right here. Walker on first base, though, with good speed.
The Met bullpen very quiet.
Nobody throwing in the Met bullpen. One man out.
Now they're getting active.
Fastball up high to Santavena. Beautiful. Julio Machado and Jeff Musselman throwing in the Met bullpen. Beautiful day for a ball game here in Montreal.
especially inside.
That's right. And the 1-0 pitch, as the runner breaks, it's a foul ball, and it'll drift out of play. Good move by Buck Rogers, putting that runner in motion on first base. He has good speed. David Cone takes a little while to get the ball to the plate. Barry Lyons is going to have to show the National League teams he can throw runners out. Good move. Opening day crowd for the Expos, 44,183. That's how they used to pack them in when Rusty played up here. Like Ron Orange. There's Walker. Good breaking ball right there. 1-2.
Let's take a look at that breaking ball. Santavena, no chance. When that front starts breaking down.
So 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 man down. Now that's a swing in which he was fooled. He's not happy.
David Cone, excellent pitching in that situation. Gets his 7th strikeout. This ball is not a strike. Santavena.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That is a weak hack. That's what you call getting absolutely fooled. We're going to have a pinch hitter. Mike Aldretti is going to come up to hit now for Spike Owen.
Now this could help the Mets, because if they get Aldretti, they have to put a replacement at shortstop. One reason they had Spike Owens at shortstop is because he was the only one steady late in the game for the Expos. Now he's out of the game.
He has one of the hits against Cone, hit a triple, and has always been a thorn in the side of the New York Mets. I'm almost a little surprised at that move.
Well, Buck Rogers will go with percentages here, but I agree with you, Rusty. I'd keep the shortstop in. Too important a position defensively.
Aldretti last year hit .221, 1 home run, 12 RBIs.
Swung and a miss, strike 1. Plus, coming off the bench and swinging the bat is not that easy, although this guy's done very well. Wallace Johnson.
He's been their key guy off the bench. 53 pinch hits in the last 3 years. 14 in '89, 22 in '88, and 17 in '87, but he's in the on-deck circle.
And the 0-1 pitch is fouled off.
You want to figure that out? I don't understand it. If you got your top guy, why isn't he up there right now? Mike Aldretti has not been that good of a pinch hitter. This is the game on the line. No comprende. Or should I say up here, je ne comprends pas.
Are you accurate with that?
I'm not sure, but I think so.
Here's the 0-2
I do not
pitch.
understand, that means. Does that sound like it would work in English? I do not understand.
That's good enough. I can understand that. 1-2 on Aldretti with 2 men down.
Certainly better than this move.
Let's see if Buck Rogers comes out of this all right. He does not. Aldretti foul tips the ball into Barry Lyons' glove, and that'll do it for the Expos. And the Expos leave runners stranded on first and third. It's still all tied as we go to the 8th. Tom Foley at shortstop. As you mentioned, Spike going out of the game, and Drew Hall on the mound to face 3 right-handers, starting off with Kevin McReynolds. He'll be followed by Mike Marshall and then Barry Lyons. One and 0 on McReynolds. There's a shot foul. 1-1. One of the things Buck Rogers is concerned about here in Montreal is he has nobody to pitch with Tim Burke out of the bullpen. Here's the 1-1 pitch to McReynolds. Boy, that's a good sinker right there. 2-1 and missed.
It's one of the priorities. They have had a lot of discussions with different clubs on trying to strengthen the Expo bullpen. So far, they have not been successful to make a trade.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Reynolds, it's a high fly ball to center field. Grissom is there. He makes the grab. 1 down. One of the rumors concerning the bullpen was in the paper today, but I find it hard to believe that there's a possibility that the Expos would trade Tim Raines and somebody else for Tim Raines for Lee Smith and somebody else with the Red Sox.
Well, that somebody else better be somebody pretty good.
Yeah.
Talking about one outstanding player in Tim Raines. One of the real concerns not only was that he had to go to Burke so much last year, but that Burke seemed to break down a little bit. He had 11 blown saves in 1989, and although he had a 9-3 record and 28 saves, that is not good. 11 blown saves.
Well, 1 out, the batter Mike Marshall. This kid's got a live arm.
Seems as such.
4 balls and 1 strike on Marshall. Swung on and missed. 0-2. Looks like it'd be a tough ball to hit over the wall because it's sinking down.
As long as it's sinking down and away. Down and in is a different subject. He's coming in.
0-2 pitch. And he hits a high fly ball deep left field, but not deep enough if you're a Met fan. Raines has room and makes the grab. 2 down.
He got lucky with that pitch. I'm going to talk about just missing.
So with 2 men down, the batter will be Barry Lyons.
It is interesting that he did go to the left-hander with all right-handers coming up.
Yeah, I was surprised. First pitch to Lyons. Here's a strike. Barry in this ball game 1 for 3. Fly to right, single to right, and struck out. Mentioned the crowd here today, 44,000 plus. As Lyons takes outside, 1-1. Bryn Smith, who pitched here last year, signed a long, lucrative contract with the St. Louis Cardinals, was quoted in the papers saying that the fans hurt the ball club because they're kind of dead here at the ballpark.
At times players open their mouths at the wrong time, too. Leave a city like this where he was a pretty good cog. He could have been a leader. He got on the third baseman, Tim Wallach, about not being enough of a leader. Everybody leads in their own way.
1-2 pitch. That was not a good swing. Good pitching by Drew Hall. He sets the Mets down in order here in the 8th. We played 7.5. It's still tied at 1.
Get all the inside information on the 1990 season on Manchester Equipment Mets 99. On Wednesday, April 26th, when the Mets battle the Braves at 7:35 p.m., all fans will receive the Mets 90 Annual with comprehensive major and minor league player info and an expert analysis of the 1990 season. Compliments of Manchester Equipment Company, the computer company that has tremendous supplies and equipment experts. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea's Advanced Ticket Window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. You're looking at Jeff Musselman, who has come on now for Davey Johnson.
So Musselman will pitch to Tom Foley, who will bat in the 9th slot, or a pinch hitter. So Junior Noboa will hit.
He's going to hit for Foley.
Noboa led the American Association in batting, so he can hit.
He's 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter so far this year.
Junior Noboa.
First pitch from Musselman, and Noboa gets jammed, lofts the ball to right field, but Strawberry played him perfectly right there, makes the grab. One down. So Noboa in the dugout, and the batter now, DeShields. Lionel DeShields. He's 1 for 3. Hit a rope his first time up, a base hit into center field, then he struck out and grounded out. One man down here. And he takes a strike. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Keep in mind now, the Expos can run. You've got to keep them off the bases, especially DeShields. The Expos signed him after he signed a letter of intent to play basketball at Villanova. He takes down low.
Last year, the combination of his time in Jacksonville and Indianapolis, he did steal 53 bases.
He's an excellent athlete, an All-American in 3 sports from Delaware. Takes up high, 2-1. The Expos told him after they signed him, you can still play basketball if you want at Villanova. He said, I'm going to concentrate on baseball.
Probably a very good decision.
2-1 pitch. Fouled off of Barry Lyons. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One man down the bottom of the 8th. It's all tied at 1.
Well, the big question is, do the Expos have any regrets on that trade they made yet last year for Langston, giving up Randy Johnson, Brian Holman, and Gene Harris, 3 really fine-looking young players.
To Johnson, to Marshall, 2 down. Well, in talking with some of the executives here with the Expos, Johnson, they feel, would struggle because he's so big. He's about 6'9". The other 2 guys, they felt, Holman's off to a good start with Seattle. They're pretty high on those guys, but they wanted to take a gamble. They were hoping to sign Langston. We're talking about 2 extremes. Langston kept saying, I want to go to Southern California, and who trades for him but the Expos?
Tough scene. I'm sure some of the disappointment of last year is the reason why Charles Bronfman, the majority owner of this ball club, has indicated that he wants to sell the club. That really bothers me because I know how much Mr. Bronfman wanted baseball to be here in Canada, particularly in Montreal. He's been a driving force here for baseball.
Fly ball off the bat of Grissom to center field. Miller coming in, makes the grab. And the Expos go quietly here in the 8th inning. 3 up, 3 down. We've played 8, and we're still tied at 1. Now you can claim the big game for real, because SportsChannel and Jeep Eagle want to send you on an all-expense-paid trip to LA to see the Mets play the Dodgers. Second prize is a large screen TV and VCR. 10 third prize winners will receive a pair of tickets to a Mets home game. All you have to do to win is send us a postcard with your name, address, date, time, phone number, and age to claim the big game. P.O. Box 234, Woodbury, New York 11797. So claim the big game, courtesy of SportsChannel and Jeep Eagle.
You're looking at Junior Noboa. He's at shortstop now for the Expos.
And Kevin Elster, the batter. Kevin takes down low, ball 1. Kevin will be followed by Mark Carrion and then Greg Jeffries. Drew Hall on in relief of Kevin Gross. Gross pitched a good ball game. So did David Cohn. Drew Hall acquired from the Texas Rangers for Jeff Hewson. And ground ball, second base. Scored 4-3, 1 down. Nice play by DeShields.
Delino DeShields showing some quickness and some agility on this play. Really came in well on that slow hit ball. Elster, decent speed. Nice play.
So, as I mentioned, Mark Carrion will pinch hit for Jeff Musselman. One man down, top of the 9th inning. We're all tied at 1.
Carry On has had a unsuccessful appearance. 0 for 1 so far.
Would you consider that the toughest job in baseball? Pinch hitting?
It's one of them.
I'm talking about the toughest.
Well, it would kind of be like I'm trying to promote things that I did at the end of my career.
That's okay. Now you're up in a broadcast booth and you've done them all.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Outside to mark 1-0. Carry On in his mid-20s, been a proficient pinch hitter.
What you got to do is not hit for about 7 or 8 days. Come up with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Then you'll know.
And it misses 2-0. Do you feel a manager expects the pinch hitter to get a hit, or is it gravy if he gets the hit? Like when you play every day, you go up there 4 times, they expect you to hit. Here's a 2-0 pitch. There's a strike.
I don't think there's a time the manager sends a hitter up that he doesn't want him to get a hit or expect him to get a hit.
Okay.
He wants him to. He realizes that the percentages are against the 1,000 batting average.
That's right. Here's a 2-1 pitch up high, 3-1.
There was one period of time where facing Suter, I was about 0 for 11. Davey decided to pinch hit me against him. I said, I know one thing, the odds are in my favor. I got a double to left. I couldn't believe it.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. Ground ball, base hit. So Mark Carry On coming off the bench and slapping a ball in the left field.
Here's one of those plays where the third baseman was guarding the line. Very deep was Wallach and very close to the line. Carry On. That ball really not in the hole, but it became the hole because of where the third baseman was playing.
So Greg Jeffries will bat from the right side right now against Drew Hall. Jeffries 1 for 4 in this game. If you watch the switch hitters in batting practice, they take batting practice from both sides of the plate. Outside, ball 1. One ball, no strikes on Greg Jeffries. Up high. 2-0. It's all tied at 1 in the 9th inning.
You want to be aggressive. You got a 2-0 count. The guy's going to try to throw a strike. Good fastball hitter. Do you send the runner? No. Strike 1 would have been perfect. Fastball away. Big hole between first and second. Maybe he'll do it now. See where that second baseman's playing. What a gap.
Carry On, really a guy with not good speed.
That's why it would have to be a hit and run. Davey electing to let him stay in the game.
2-1 pitch and popped up shallow right field. The Shield's going back. Coming in Walker, and he makes the grab. Two down.
Davey does have one fast runner in the dugout in Thornton, who would be a stolen base threat. Starting to say with Carry On. Carry On's not slow.
No.
Julio Machado throwing like he's coming into the ball game.
Keith Miller, the batter. He's been smoking the ball today. Takes outside. Ball 1. Although he smoked the ball, he still is only 1 for 4. Play even up all the way around for Miller. Shallow in the outfield. Takes a strike. 1-1.
One of the best things you can say about an umpire is that you haven't really noticed him much in the game, especially the home plate umpire. Gary Darling doing a fine job today.
There's Gary. And a 1-1 pitch to Miller. Breaking ball inside. Nice hard slider. Pretty good acquisition for the Expos. Drew Hall. He was acquired on April 2nd from the Texas Rangers. Two-one pitch. Fly ball. Left field. Raines calling for it and makes the grab for out number 3. So the Mets fail to score here in the top of the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 9th, all tied at 1.
Tomorrow on Sports Channel, Davy Johnson's Mets slug it out with Tim Raines and the hard-hitting Expos. Catch the Mets battling their Eastern Division foes, Montreal. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, with the Mets on deck starting at 1:15, live on Sports Channel.
You're looking at Julio Machado on the mound for the New York Mets. This is Machado's 3rd game. He's pitched 2 full innings, given up 1 hit. Does not have a record or a save yet, but will be a very, very important cog for Davy Johnson. Both he and Musselman, if they can fill in that long man role. Mets really suffered last year in that capacity.
Well, the 24-year-old right-hander will pitch to Tim Raines. Keep in mind, Raines, a good clutch hitter.
Of all the hitters, the Montreal Expos you least want to see up there when the game is on the line, Tim Raines is the guy.
Machado misses outside to Raines with his first pitch. Ball 1. There's a strike, 1-1. Machado last year with the Mets 0-1 was 1-2 in Tidewater.
He actually started out in A-ball, worked his way right on up the ladder to the big leagues.
He did, didn't he? Wow. There's a drive to left center field. McReynolds is over, makes the grab. 1 down, big out.
Hit that ball very well. Wrong location. The strength of this next hitter is down and in. They always tell you they want you to keep the ball down. With this guy, if you keep it down, it better be away.
And he's 2 for 3 in his ball game. Talking about Tim Wallach. And he fouls the ball off of Barry Lyons.
That jolted him pretty hard. Ball straight back at him. Watch this foul off.
Well, I'll tell you.
Ball just stuck in there. They got to come out and put a little freeze him on that.
That hurts for a moment. You know, you're having trouble swallowing right there.
What do you want to swallow?
Well, you'd like to have the feeling or the sensation that you can certainly swallow, but you can't swallow and you feel that you got a problem. But all catchers have had that. They feel, look at. Whoop. It's sore. Put a little ice on it. I've had managers come out after getting hit with a foul tip, especially managers that were old catchers. You know what they would do? They'd spit that tobacco juice on your hand. You know, if you hit in the hand, you're expecting some sympathy. They give it to the rest of the players, but those old catchers, they'd be spitting the tobacco juice on you. One guy comes to mind, Jack McKeon, who manages in San Diego. He was nuts with that stuff. Outside to Wallach, 1-1. That's one of the reasons catchers will never hit the real high averages consistently.
The first pitch Machado threw was right into the strength of Wallach. That ball that got fouled back.
There's a strike right there. 1-2. When you get hit with foul tips all the time, even though they won't knock you out of the lineup, they affect you as a hitter.
They have to, Fran. I agree with you there. Usually I give you a little static about the catchers, but they have a tough job back there, and I know it.
I like to stick some of you outfielders back there and hit foul balls off you for a while. Teach you a lesson. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball is pulled foul.
You were one of the few catchers who had, I would say, better than average speed behind the plate. Normally the guy who is behind the plate is there for certain reasons.
It used to be that they would put guys that were slow of foot behind the plate. I'll tell you what, when you couldn't hit, you better be able to run. Mackey Sasser doing a great job in that dugout. There's a fastball inside to Wallach. 2-2. By the way, Wallach, his best year in the RBI department, 123 back in '87. He can drive in some runs. That's the only time he went over the century mark. Outside.
Machado a little bit erratic right now with his delivery point. Kind of slung that ball a little off on the side.
Gotta be careful with Wallach. He's one of the few in the lineup that can hit the ball over the fence here at the Big O. Time is called. Wallach asked for time, and he got it. Wallach last year, only 13 home runs and 77 RBIs. Best home run year, 25, and he hits a ground ball third. Hojo to Marshall. 2 down. So 2 men down, and the big cat will bat against Julio Machado. Andres Galarraga. He's 0 for 3. This is a guy who spent about 6 years in the minor leagues.
Now, Galarraga last year struck out 28% of the time he went to the plate. That's a lot. We were talking earlier, talked a lot about hitting with Hal McRae, the hitting instructor for the Expos. This would be one of those times where they would say it's okay to strike out because right now he's got to try for the extra base hit.
Good point.
2 outs, bottom of the 9th. You're not looking to punch it to right.
He just took a ball. It's 1-1. Last year he batted .257. He had 23 home runs leading the club, and he had 85 RBIs, and they considered that an off year. And the 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. 1-2. McRae said that he felt he was pulling off the ball a lot last year, therefore he had a lot of strikeouts. He felt that was one of his problems with strikeouts, where he feels he can drive the ball the other way a long way.
Well, he did. He almost hit the ball out of the ballpark last time up.
And the 1-2 pitch. Off the plate. 2-2. Now McRae, of course, one of the disciples of Charlie La.
In fact, he has hit 2 balls very deep to right field today alone.
For some reason, he reminds me of Orlando Cepeda.
I agree with you.
2-2 pitch. Just missed it. Popped it up. Had the big rip. Mike Marshall calling for it and makes the grab for out number 3. So we go to extra innings. Machado doing the job, setting the Expos down 1-2-3 here in the 9th. After 9 complete, we're tied at 1. Well, the Mets go into their first extra inning ball game of the season, and now back with the play-by-play, Mr. Kiner.
And it's Howard Johnson to lead it off for the Mets. And a breaking ball in for a call strike. Howard with 2 hits and 3 at-bats, also has walked. Had a home run his first at-bat this year. 1-1 ball game. The Mets about hit Montreal 8-5. This is lined down the left field line. It'll be extra bases. Johnson around first on his way. Raines playing it back in, and the Mets have the go-ahead run at second base with no one out here in the top of the 10th.
Well, Howard Johnson's 3rd hit of the game. Drew Hall throws his first pitch up, and Hojo really tommyhawked that ball. Well, that's a quick, strong swing. You got an interesting picture right there. It's a tough pitch to hit, but Hojo got that top hand over. What did Casey Stengel call it?
Butcher boy. So Johnson at second, and Darryl Strawberry the batter. Darryl 1 for 3 today. Drove in a run back in the 5th inning to tie the ball game at 1. Montreal had scored their only run of the ball game in the 3rd on a triple by Spike Owen and a double by the starting pitcher Kevin Gross. And it's John Franco now throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. Shortstop coming over to cover at second base, but no throw by Drew Hall, who relieved Kevin Gross back in the 8th inning. Now working in his 3rd inning here for the Expos. And this ball is popped up in foul territory, and it will be out of play.
Darrell's got to get the runner over. If he doesn't drive him in, he's got to do one or the other. He's a run producer. He's paid to produce runs. If he doesn't feel comfortable right now, he's got to do everything in his power to get that runner to third base.
And the best way he can do it is to pull the ball toward right field. Have to think about pulling the ball toward right here in this spot. And again, they have an idea about picking Johnson off second.
I think that if you have a power hitter at the plate and he's in the groove, he can't worry about advancing the runner. He's got to drive him in. But in this case, Darrell's got to do one or the other.
And the pitch is low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the point is, too, Fran, as you were pointing out, he's got to take a full swing.
And here's a breaking ball. Darrell with not a good swing right there. Now we're going to get a double switch.
So they're going to go to a new pitcher as the Mets have their right-handed power coming up.
Tim Burke is on his way in. He was their stopper last year. So Burke will come in. Wallace Johnson moves to first base. Now that's an interesting move. Ralph, one of the best defensive first basemen in the game is Andres Galarraga. It's an important defensive position.
Plus the fact that he is also their big power hitter.
You know,
I don't understand that move.
The switch came into vogue in about the 70s. And since then, every manager in the National League has embraced that switch. And you see it quite a bit, probably sometimes unnecessarily.
I can't take my power hitter out of the ball game in a 1-1 game in the 10th inning. And especially if he's one of the best defensive catching first baseman in the game.
That's right.
He won the Gold Glove last year after Keith Hernandez had dominated that position for years.
But and not only is Buck maybe
players he could take out of the ball game. Certainly not your star player.
And you know, a throw from the infield, Aaron throw from the infield, and Howard Johnson can score from second base.
Well, Tim Burke, the new pitcher, and he's a good one. Lifetime record of 37 wins, only 19 losses. He's had 76 saves. He's worked in 330 games for Montreal. And he's had 2 game starts, no complete games. In Major League history, only John Franco has worked in more games in the National League, 333. And Ed Vandenberg in the American League, 332. So he has appeared in 332 games in his first 5 seasons in the major leagues. And he'll be working to Kevin McReynolds, who is hitless today, 0 for 3. So the first pitch by Burke, a fastball in tight for ball 1. Burke last year had 28 saves, had a record of 9-3, working to Kevin McReynolds. Burke made the All-Star team last year. He hadn't planned on it, but he was picked as one of the pitchers. Came in and worked a 1-2-3 inning in the All-Star game. He had other plans, important plans. He was going to Guatemala to adopt a child. And this ball hit down the line. It's foul. And they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Child was named Lion after a Montreal Canadian hockey player. And they adopted the child, but he had to change his plans after he pitched in the All-Star game in L.A. He flew down to Guatemala, signed the necessary papers, adopted the child, came back and pitched in the second half of the season.
That's a great story. ESPN followed him to Guatemala. They did a nice job on that story.
So a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Howard Johnson represents the go-ahead run. We're in the top of the 10th inning. 1 man out. Johnson had led off with a double. Strawberry struck out, and the breaking ball taken low, and it's 2-1. Paid crowd of 44,143. Fine opening day for Montreal. And the slider pulled foul again, so they count 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The atmosphere of a ball game when you get the leadoff man on second base and you're unable to score him in a situation like this. When you have your RBI men going to the plate, your money men.
Howard Johnson batting in the 3rd batting position, so the Mets have the meat of their batting order to try and score the run, and the fastball taken for ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And a base hit in a situation like this can get you going, can get that offense going and carry over to other ball games.
Mets have not had a good offense in their first few games.
It's almost like they're in neutral.
A little bit of power, but no consistency in base hits. And this ball hit in the air to the left. Raines right there. Johnson halfway. Raines makes the catch, and Johnson back to second. So after the leadoff double, the Mets failed to move Johnson up. And that will bring up Mike Marshall. Marshall 0 for 4. He did line out hard to the second baseman in the 6th inning. The Shields making a nice play on his line drive. Outfield about straight away. And Marshall takes the fastball for ball 1. If there has been a doubt about the chances of the Montreal Expos, it has been more or less centered on their bullpen. They've had good results here today. Drew Hill relieved Kevin Gross. Worked 2 good innings, and now the ace in the bullpen, Tim Burke, with a count of 1-1 on Mike Marshall. Burke was no question mark. He has been a very consistent relief pitcher. It has been their setup man that they were doubting. One ball, 1 strike. Johnson at second base. And this ball hit hard. A base hit the left. Johnson will have to hurry to score. Raines has it. The throw to the plate is offline. Johnson scores. Marshall goes to second. He's safe there. The ball gets away, and Marshall decides not to go as Larry Walker quickly gets to the ball in right center field. So the Mets take the lead as Marshall drives in a big run for the New York Mets.
And the trade with the Dodgers paying dividends here in Montreal. Mike Marshall hitting a rope in the left field. Take a look at it. Marshall hitting a bullet into left field. Great speed on second base right here. Raines knows he has to make a perfect throw. It's offline. And Howard Johnson scores easily. Marshall hustles down to second base. That should get Mike Marshall going.
Big base hit for Mike Marshall as he cashes Johnson with 2 men out here in the top of the 10th inning. That run will be charged to the record of Drew Hill, and the batter coming up, Barry Lyons. Drew Hall, I should say. And the breaking ball for ball 1. Lyons with a blue base hit in the 4th, 1 for 4 today. Mets now have had 2 runs on 10 hits, doubling the amount of hits the Expos have had. The fastball is missed. 1-1. Lyons in his 4th full season in the major leagues. it's hit in the air to fairly deep left field. Back goes Raines, and it is out of here. Gone, goodbye. And Barry Lyons with his second home run of the year, and the Mets tack on 2.
Well, Mike Marshall's base hit got the Mets on track. Barry Lyons following with a 2-run home run. So Mike Marshall's hit very big in 2 ways. Here's Barry Lyons following Marshall's hit with a home run here at Olympic Stadium. Rain's going back, but it's over the wall. Barry Lyons doing the job behind the plate and with the bat.
And now the batter, Kevin Elster, looking for his first hit of the year, and he takes inside for ball 1. Barry Lyons with his 8th major league home run, and a big one. Ground ball to the shortstop, Naboa, and his throw to first base retires aside. But Tim Berg, coming in with a runner at second and 1 out, fails to stem the batting attack of the New York Mets. They get 3 runs on 3 hits. And the score at the end of 9.5 innings, the New York Mets 4, the Montreal Expos 1.
Wow, new pitcher. John Franco picked up his first serve. I'm all right. This will be second serve. The first save the other day for the Mets against the Pirates. He's on relief once again for the Mets.
So John Franco will be working to Larry Walker as his first batter in the 10th. The Mets leading by a score of 4-1 with 3 runs in the top of the 10th inning. Franco with 1 save already for the New York Mets.
You know, it's amazing, Ralph. You talked about the setup men, and they've become so important. And I think major league teams are going to focus on really getting some outstanding middle relievers. The Mets getting the job done today by Jeff Musselman and Julio Machado.
Both working an inning and giving up no hits. Both getting the Expos out 1, 2, 3. Musselman in the 8th and Machado in the 9th inning, and that puts a count of 2 balls and no strikes to Larry Walker, and it is now ball 3. Walker 0 for 2. He has also walked. And there's a strike. That fills it out to 3-2. Struck him out. So after working the count to 3-0, Franco comes back to strike out Larry Walker for the first out here in the 10th.
He's throwing hard. Watch this. Throws his ball down low and by Walker. Ordinarily, you see that pitch up high thrown by a hitter. Down low, that ball was thrown right by the left-handed swinging Walker. This kid has a lot of confidence. He's had a lot of success working out of the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds.
One of the best relief pitchers in baseball today, and now his next batter will be Nelson Santovenia, and he takes the first pitch. Santovenia 0 for 3 today. And that one grounded foul, strike 2. So Santovenia trying to get it going for the Montreal Expos. The Mets leading 4-1 here in the 10th inning, bottom half of the 10th.
It's amazing. At one time, it was tough to get young pitchers to go into the bullpen and become relief pitchers. Now it's a glamorous job, the short man.
Big money there.
Big money. They have their Roll-Age Relief Man Award.
Franco with 149 saves in his major league career, and he strikes out Santovenia. Now the Expos down to their last out.
Here's that last pitch. Franco has a lot of success against right-handers or left-handers. It's one thing Davey won't have to do is flip-flop his pitches, bring in a Franco to pitch to a left-hander, because he can throw the ball by the right-hander.
He's got that good movement on that off-speed pitch that breaks away from a right-hand batter. Here's Wallace Johnson batting for the first time. He hits it on the ground through the middle for a base hit. So Johnson, who normally is the pinch hitter for the Montreal Expos, was put into the game when they brought in the new pitcher, Tim Burke, and he gets a base hit his first time up. Wallace Johnson, the best pinch hitter in baseball over the last 3 years.
And a young guy, it's tough to keep a young guy on the bench. When he shows you he can pinch hit, you tend to want to put him in the ball game. You figure if he can hit once a game, you'd like to see what he can do 4 times a game.
So now Junior Noboa, the batter. Junior batted back in the 8th inning as a pinch hitter and stayed in the game. Flied out to center field is one at bat.
Now, this guy can put the ball in play. I mentioned earlier he did lead the American Association in hitting.
And this one chopped, and if it's fair, it's going to be tough to handle. A throw by the catcher Lyons, not in time. And now the tying run comes to the plate.
Well, here it is again, the ball with good speed. He was a candidate for that second base job in spring training. Puts the ball in play, hits it high enough where he beats the throw. We mentioned the Expos. A lot of guys in this ball club can run. If you're going to have artificial turf on your home field, you better have good speed.
A la St. Louis Cardinals and Whitey Herzog's team. And now with the tying run at the plate, the batter is Delino DeShields, who is 1 for 4 today. Singled off the first pitch of the game. His first time up in this game, and he swings and misses. One strike to count. The Mets 1 out away from picking up a victory here in the first of 3 here in the Big O. Strike 2, and now Franco a strike away from ending this ball game. Two strikes to count. 1-2. Delino DeShields had a great spring. He hit .464 in spring training to win the job at second base. Got off to a great start. Was 4 for 6 in his first major league ball game. One of 11 players to have 4 hits his first game in the major leagues. And the fastball handcuffs him. It's popped up to Johnson at third, and that'll do it. The Mets win it in extra innings by a score of 4-1. As Howard Johnson makes the play, a save for Franco, his second of the year. The winning pitcher Machado, who was in the ball game when the Mets scored in the top of the 10th inning, breaking the game open when Marshall singled in the go-ahead run, and then the 2-run home run by Barry Lyons to make it a 4-1 ball game. So the Mets have won it by a score of 4-1. We'll be back with a recap right after these messages.